Follow along as I take my 1984 Ramcharger to the next stage with coilovers, a doubler, and it's going to be stretched a few inches. Stay tuned. Okay. Alright, so the next thing I'm doing is I'm going to get this bearing. It doesn't say anything about packing it with grease, but I always like to kind of have my bearings with a little bit of something before the fluid starts getting in there, so I'm not really going to pack it, just kind of, I guess I could pack it a little bit like you do a wheel bearing. It's not the same shape, but yeah, I'll just try to get a little bit in there. Okay, alright, just trying to get a little bit of grease in this bearing here. I'll do both sides, and I'm going to drop her right back in this new adapter. Yeah. Packing in. Nice. Alright, well, okay, good enough for me. Let's put that extra out in there. Okay. Drop her in here. Let's kind of make a little bit of a mess to get some of this popped up. Tap it in so I don't make a mess. I'm going to throw a paper towel over that. Change gloves. Alright. Non-bad gloves. All right, so it looked like that did it. I'm pretty well seated, I believe. I'll double check on the other side. It's easier to have a bearing race driver that's kind of the size you need so you can get even strikes. Let's check it out. Yeah, the other way you can tell too is by the sound. So when you're striking the bearing and then you get a higher pitch kind of sound, that's when you know you've kind of bottomed out a little bit. But see if I can pop this in real quick. It'll also tell me if I'm all the way down as much as I need to be. See if I can get this thing to compress. Holy cow, this thing is stiff. All right, let's go see what other tools I got here. Give it a couple goes by hand. I just have to work this by hand. And nice and cleaned up. All right, I'll get this in. All right, got that snap ring in. It's a lot tougher than the pictures make it realize. So best way to do it with this snap ring, get it started, compress it with your hand and just try to get some more edge down here as much as you can. It's burly. And then just work it around. I use this little brass punch and just kind of bat it all the way around with the light taps until it finally popped in. But yeah, that one was that's a tough one to compress. Okay. Figured out an easy way how to get out this rod. I'm sure it's probably known to some of the other guys that do builds like this all the time, but I pulled off the external shifter here, and this is that internal that goes to the chain box. This controls this rod here, and I just loosened it, pushed it enough. Well, first I took off the shift fork and the shift collar. I made note of where that was. It's all pretty simple going back together, but then I was able to push this internal rod just a little bit more inward, and then I was able to fish out this guy, so don't have to cut it. I thought I was gonna have to cut it, so that was easy enough. So we'll go back together, and now we're in business. All right, installing this doubler shaft was easy enough. Just took it, applied grease to the inside of this gear, slid this over after applying grease to the outside of the doubler shaft. Said you don't need this retaining pin here from the other shaft, and if you lost it, it says it's not a big deal. All it does is keep the thrust washer from spinning. But I went ahead, I put it in anyways. I don't know, I still had it, so I put it in. Then this is gonna flip over, slide on top of this, and then I'll put the snap ring back on the input shaft here, and then that should keep everything in place. So they said this is a tight fit, so hopefully I don't have to heat up that bearing because I have grease all over it. But yeah, let's see if I can get this flipped over, and then the doubler adapter's mostly done. Okay, so that bearing was pretty tight to drive this through, so I didn't have to heat it up. I was able to get most of it with a dead blow on the bench, but just put this on my press, get the last little bit, shaft come in through the middle, so that pressed in nicely. Cool. Next step, getting this snap ring back down onto the shaft in that groove, and that'll hold all of that into place. And then we can start prepping the assembly with the range box and the doubler adapter plate. Snap ring is in. That was actually easier than coming off before. So got it started, and then I just kind of worked around pressing down with this little drift, and then I got it into place and I just pushed it with the screwdriver after I used these guys to get it close enough. So cool. All right, before I get too crazy with putting the case together and getting the needle bearings and that other half on, I need to double check. Not that I really can do anything more about it since they're already drilled and tapped, but I need to check out these studs and make sure this will go into the transmission adapter no problem. And then before I put that half on, I need to put those set screws like I was talking about earlier in these other holes, get those sealed up, get some thread sealant Loctite on the studs, and then we can finish assembly here. Studs temporarily in, we're ready for a test fit. Cross your fingers. Well, she bolted up with a little finagling with getting the input shaft lined up. She pulled in, so I drilled it pretty close to where I needed to be. Looks like that. Looks like this is going to be right in line where my shifter is going to be. Here's my old shifter. So this lever's still good. So yeah, I don't know. Pretty pleased. For the set screws, I decided on RTV, so I think it's just going to seal better. The thread sealant that I had, you know, I don't think it was going to do it. So these I think will be just fine. So I'm running them in with RTV, just wiping it, and then I'll get to the studs here. All right, I'm going to try this direction. So instead of having the needle bearings in here, and you don't want to use this piece and flip it over because in case they fall out, you don't really know. Or vice versa, having them in here and then doing this way. I think if one falls out, I'll know because it's not going to close the gap and it's not going to be elsewhere in the case. But I think they're going to stay put just where they are with grease there. And I got this RTV'd on one side. I think I'm just going to do that one side, keep this, you know, otherwise it's just so messy, but I think it's going to seal just fine anyways. Probably didn't need RTV. So let's flip this over, get that on there, and we'll see how it goes. There she is. All right, came down good. So I came down, slid right on. It's flat, so I'm not sitting on any needle bearings the way I have it. So like I said, the instruction says, you know, don't flip this piece over with the needle bearings in because you don't know if they're going to fall out or whatever. But I went on top with the needle bearings already on the case, held together kind of by grease and then straight down. That seemed to do the trick. So everything works. Spins around just fine. Whoops, let me grab it. Let's try to shift it. So I'm not sure what gear that is. That way, let's go down. Yeah, definitely working. Yeah, that's it right there. And that's, heck yeah, cool. That's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one in the series. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.